Simon Toyne 2011 Pietrasanta anteprime. Iniziamo con la prima domanda. Sanctus è un romanzo veloce con un'idea originale alla sua base. Quando ha capito che la storia di Sanctus poteva funzionare?
Well, I came up with the idea. The idea arrived first, and I'd kind of quit my job in television to write a book, and I had a couple of ideas. They were quite small ideas, but then I suddenly this other idea came to me, and it struck me as such a good idea. Even though it was complicated and difficult to write, and probably not the best thing to start for a first-time writer. So I thought, I've got to write this one, and I kind of plotted it out. And I started with the end. The idea I had was this big secret, so I started with that, and then kind of worked backwards really to the beginning. So it wasn't a question of thinking, of starting a scenario and then ending up and going, how can I finish it? I started with the end, the big idea, and kind of worked backwards.
In Sanctus un segreto viene celato da millenni, sta per essere scoperto. Perché è forte in molti scrittori ultimamente cambiare la storia della Chiesa?
Well, the church is culturally central to history, to everything. But I think at the moment people are very much questioning the church, and as a novelist, you're kind of trying to, you're a person, you're a reader as well, and you think of you're asking the same questions, and so to try and kind of put them into a book, it kind of makes sense to sort of cover the same subject matter that everyone else is thinking about. It's interesting to explore, and the church is such a vast subject. There are so many stories in the church. There are so many questions in the church. It's such a mysterious organisation that it's rich. It's kind of rich material to mine for novelists, I think. And people have always questioned the church, and I think they always will. And so I'm just sort of another in a long line of people who've done that.
Il romanzo è ambientato a Ruin in Grecia. Come ha svolto le ricerche per poterlo ambientare in quel posto?
Well, at the centre of Sanctus is this kind of very old, as old as time history, mystery. So I needed it to take place somewhere where feasibly a secret could have been kept for that long. So I started looking for places that had been inhabited for a long time. And Turkey's an interesting place because geographically it's kind of close to the ancient biblical lands of the Middle East. It's right on the edge of Asia. It's right on the edge of Europe. It's sort of it's kind of one of those places where history has swept backwards and forwards around it, and it was once the centre of a great empire and had great empires itself. But in modern times, empires have moved further west. I suppose America is the big empire now, and actually towards the east, China is rising as an empire, India is rising as an empire, Russia, and Turkey's kind of been forgotten. So for the purposes of my story of having something that was once at the centre of things but has now sort of drifted away, it was perfect. I just thought this is the place where an ancient secret as old as recorded history and as old as man could feasibly have been kept. So that's why I set it there.
Sanctus è l'inizio di una trilogia. Nei prossimi romanzi troveremo ancora qualche personaggio? Saremo ancora a Ruin? O cambierà tutto?
No, the trilogy very much follows the story of the central characters in the first one. So the second and third book kind of carry on their story, and so you find out not only there's a big revelation, big mystery is revealed at the end of the first book by these characters and the efforts of these characters. So the second one very much deals with the consequences of this revelation, and like many things, you sort of, if you're focused on something so hard and then you achieve it, there's always that interesting question of what next. It's all right to achieve that, but then what happens, especially when something has huge repercussions for the church, for society, and for these people as individuals. So the second and third book follows their story, we find out more about them. We go to different countries because the story leads them sort of further, almost into history, into the Middle East, where the origin of everything, to ancient Mesopotamia, which is in modern day Iraq, where writing was invented and recorded history was invented, and there's even more of a sense of history. So this books 2 and 3 follow their story, and the end of book 3 has got an even bigger revelation at the end of it than the one at the end of book 1.
Se ci vuole elencare i suoi 5 libri preferiti.
So my 5 essential books are Bleak House by Charles Dickens, the masterpiece of a master writer, The Mayor of Casterbridge, kind of the best story of doomed character ever. Prayer for Owen Meany by John Irving, brilliant book about fate. Great Expectations, probably the best easy read of a master writer, and Kill a Mockingbird, which is just the best book probably ever written.